When leasing a new office space, there are several misconceptions that may impact construction costs, schedule, and design. And here are just a few. The first is the newest design trend, which is exposing ceilings. When you walk into a space, you see that ugly ACT ceiling tile, and the first thing that you want to do is remove it completely. The first misconception is that this is a very easy and cost-effective approach. Unfortunately, it's not always that case, depending on the existing conditions of a site. With this involves flipping all the sprinkler heads up into the deck. We usually have to paint the entire deck. We have to swap out all the HVAC ductwork from flex to rigid. There's a lot of perimeter walls that might not be built up to deck to get you that nice, clean, finished look. And as well as a lot of the light fixtures are usually more expensive to go to linear than the standard 2x4 that might sit in an ACT ceiling. For the second misconception, I think it's important to understand the two types of walls. There's a demising and penetrating wall, which go through the ACT grid, and there's an underpinned wall, which goes to the bottom side of the grid. For the underpinned walls, this is the best case scenario because we can freely remove these walls, play with the layout as easily as we can, because these walls do not break up the grid, so once they're removed, the grid is still intact completely throughout the whole space. As for demising and penetrating walls, this is not the case. Once they're removed, the grid will not line up. We will usually have to replace large portions of the ceiling. The third misconception is that you can plug in the cost per square foot on a previous project to one of your newer projects. However, this is not always the case. Every building is unique, every client's needs are unique, and the cost fluctuates significantly when you say go to a 2,000 square foot space to a 10,000 square foot space. Because of this, ARCO put together a unit cost cheat sheet that'll allow any broker to take a look at maybe what a good range would be for, say, a 1,000 square foot space all the way up to a 100,000 square foot space. The fourth misconception is that when you walk into a space, you assume all HVAC systems are equivalent from one building to another. However, depending on how the existing system is set up, could provide multiple different functions and controllability for clients' needs. It's really important for us to understand what the client's expectations are for cooling in their offices. If a client is really nitpicky about having cooling in their conference rooms or in their private offices, you might not be able to get that from one building to another. The fifth misconception is not taking landlord requirements or construction documents seriously. There may be specifications on door hardware or finishes or any of the other unique things with the MEP systems in a building that could really run up the cost. For example, a very simple thing like door hardware where the mortise might be required over a cylindrical could be the difference between a few $100s per door opening.